All right, should we do this? Let's go. We are working on. I've just got the answer here. So we do it. Yeah, information technology, paper 2, practical, February March 2022. We're doing the first question. You need for this paper. You need the source files, but that's not relevant for this first question. So I'm going to start here with the first question. So you work for Tawara High School and will design an entity relationship diagram for a database. The database will hold details about the students, their teachers, and their classes. All right, students, teachers, and classes. I'm just going to keep everything in singular form. Tawara High School will use this database when producing the school's timetable. Okay, timetable. Remember, this is a big thing about Cambridge stuff, is knowing the context. Okay, so we're building their timetable. All right, and that makes sense because so the students have time, teachers have time, the class has to be on a time. Okay, good. So those three things make sense. Each school day has a weekly timetable that does not change. Okay, so right. Each student studies a number of subjects. Okay, let's get going into this thing. So, the first step that I always find is to decide which of these three entities is your starting point, right? You don't want to just assume students your starting point. The way foreign keys connect means data kind of goes in a specific flow, so you want to start at the right place. Okay, so you've got to remember this is the timetable for the school. That's such an important fact here. So it's important because it's not the timetable for the classroom, right? It's for the entire school. So if you think about what the principal of the school might want to see in the timetable, try and think about it from their perspective. Is they want to see not what every student is doing, that's too fine grained, or what every teacher is doing, but rather they just want an idea of which class is running at each moment. And then from that, they can figure out which teacher's teaching and which students are there, right? So the overview is the class. So if you're thinking about a school's timetable, we're going to start the diagram with the class. That's what's interesting to the school. So what is happening at 9 o'clock on a Monday morning in ASRT, right? That's what the school's interested in. Now, if you go to the actual class where ASRT is, the timetable might be different. In there, you're going to have which students are supposed to be there and which teachers on duty and things like that, okay? All right, so we got our starting point. That's always step one. You find out where you're starting. Okay, and then I always connect these things without primary keys and everything at first, just with their connections, just to figure it out. Okay, so let's start with class, and we want to work down and connect class to every single one of these. Okay, we've got this, I've checked it off. We need to bring these others into here. Okay, so for each subject studied, we don't have a subject. Do we need a subject entity? Maybe. Let's put it there and ask a question later. So for each subject studied, each student... the student studies a number of subjects. Sorry, did I read that first one wrong? Yeah, this is where we're at. Student studies a number of subjects. Okay, we've got subjects, but we're not dealing with student yet, so let's get to that later on. For each subject studied, each student is a member of one class. Okay, there's a mention of class, which has 4 lessons a week. So okay, good. This is the first mention of class, good. So each student is a member of one class for every subject. It's a bit confusing, but let's just go to the simple part. A class has 4 lessons a week. That's the simple part. Okay. Lesson. And it's 4 a week, so we've got this type of connection. Right? Now, how would the lesson connect to the class? Can we figure that out from this? Each student is a member of a class. So this class will have one student in, and there'll be a lesson connected to it, or one of 4 lessons through the week. And so the subject will always be the same, right? Can you see that? The subject studied. So, okay, let's put this into words. This is important to do sometimes. This is AS math class. Put words that you understand, right? So, AS math class. And, okay, so then now we're studying 4 different lessons in a week. Okay, so that makes sense. It could be like algebra or whatever. And it's like, I don't know. Obviously, you're not going to do algebra in one lesson, but like section 1, whatever. I'm overthinking it. But anyway, I just wanted to give some real examples that help me understand it. Okay, so you got the class, AS Math, you got the lesson, and so the lesson and the class and the subject are always going to be the same, right? That's the point there. So subject is always going to be like maths in the AS Math class. That's why it says here, each student is a member of one class. So the class and the subject are pretty much the same thing. So I'm going to make note of that here. Subject can kind of be part of this table, right? The class table. Okay. Now I still don't know how we connect lessons. So I know that this is a many, but how is this? Okay, many lessons can connect to many classes in this case. No, I don't know about this. The class can have these lessons, but that lesson can only belong to that class, I think. I still don't know about this connection. Okay, so each subject on the timetable has more than one class. Okay, subject classes doesn't mean that though, because, yeah, you could have a separate table here, but I don't see the necessity of that because this is a diagram for their timetables, and the subject, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so you can do it. You could put a subject table, but you've got to realize with Cambridge is there's a reason they've asked for a given context, and so think about that context all the time. So so the subject's going to be part of the class. Class can have many lessons. So each lesson has a single teacher. Okay, good. We've got a lesson connected to teacher. So that's good. We've got the second one off, and it's a single teacher. I wonder if she's pretty. So then how does it connect to lesson? A teacher can have multiple lessons, obviously. That seems pretty obvious to me. All right. All right, so now we've got to get student connected to this thing. We don't have student in here yet. And student will be connected. Let's see, the lesson is single, the class can have a different teacher for each of the 4 lessons. Sure, that's fine. Student studies a number of subjects. Okay, so if a subject is connected to a lesson, we could connect to the student through the lesson. We could have students. Let's just think about it. So a student can do many lessons, sure. And the lesson can have many students. Okay, so this is a many to many, which means we need a student lesson. Oopsie, sorry about you can't hardly see that student. This is just, I'll use these notes for just now. Okay, so that gets student off, and student lesson, many to many. That's everything we got. So I wonder if we had to, yeah, I think this is it. Cool. So this is the first part, is just to get the actual connections, right? So then what I do, and the next step is I actually can draw this out now. So this is how they mark you. Let's say you write the entity class. Just for having the entity class, you're going to get a mark. But you got to put it in its correct structure, because they ask for an entity relationship diagram. So if you do this, you get a mark for the rounded rectangle, and you get a mark for the line. Because it's a relationship diagram, don't forget, right? Primary key. And then the other thing that we spoke about here is the subject. Okay, the class has a subject associated with it, so we can also just write subject in here. Now I've gone and changed the tense, and that's going to drive me crazy. In fact, these should all be, I should do this. This will be, obviously I would rewrite this nicely before I hand it in. Or we actually do this on the, you would do it on the computer, that's the right way to do it. We can do that in the next lesson, how to do that. Okay, so class ID and then subject. Okay, that's that for now, I think. We've got to connect it to lesson, so let's bring the lesson in. So, okay, so we've got to connect the lesson to class, and so remember the foreign key goes on like the child, like the way the data goes downward, the foreign key is here. So we're going to do class ID in this, and this is the foreign key. Okay, so that links these two tables now, and that gives us our relationship like that. Okay. Okay, next, let's bring in the teacher. In fact, the way this is laid out like that, I'm going to put the teacher on the side here, so I'll just do teacher. Okay, and this, what connection was that? So one teacher can teach many classes. Okay, so we'll need the teacher ID, which is a foreign key. Right, okay, let's go over here. I'll make this, okay, I'm just going to write it small. Student lesson, student lesson ID PK. Just going to put that there. And then, whoopsie, for another space. Student ID. Okay, and then let's just put the connections, so it's a many that way. So obviously I would draw this way better when I hand it in. This is just while I figure it out. Okay. So let's see, what else? Let's just fill in some other information here. Oh wait, we haven't made these connections. Oh, so this will need your lesson ID, which is the foreign key, and the student ID, which is also a foreign key. Okay, so that's, I think those are all our main connections. Now you can just fill in some extra stuff if you want, like name. You might want that. You might want like to contact them. Contact details. Although that's not good to write it that way, because that's just say email. Okay, the student, you'd also want to know their name. Oh, we need to know the time. Woo! Nearly made a big mistake. So what time? The time of the... So what dictates the time here? Class has the timetable. The lesson will be in the class. Okay, so a class can have each subject on the timetable is more than one class? No. So the class dictates the time, right? Yeah, so you need to know the time here. I would say time needs to go in there. Yeesh. I think this is right. Let's check. Okay, so class, yes. Class ID, subject. Time, I put it in the wrong place. I would have got it wrong. Time. That's irritating. Okay, lesson ID, yeah, time. Class ID, teacher ID, good, would have got that right. Teacher ID, name, email. Okay, they put the phone number as well, but I don't know if I don't think that matters. Student lesson ID, primary key, student lesson foreign keys, lesson ID. Oh, okay, I just swapped them around, same thing. Student name. Okay, they got a bunch of other stuff in there. Let's see what I would have got. Let's mark it together. I think that's a good way to do this. So, do you know what? I'm going to, oopsie. Let's see. Sorry, you're going to have to watch me find it quick. We got time. Actually, I'm just going to expand this so it's more readable. Is it this one? June 22? I think it's this one. Okay, let's check. Oops, wrong one. Oh, there, it must be this one. Okay, cool. So, conceptual ERD diagrams contains entities and attributes. Cool. We would have got a mark for that. No data type. Yep, we didn't say any data types in there. Cool, mark for that. No key fields. No, we didn't use key fields. Mark for that. No field lengths. Good job. Drawn with rounded rectangles. We've got 5 so far. 5 entities. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, I have to tell you, when I did this alone, I got 7 entities because I added a subject, and the subject had a many to many. So, it was very complicated to try and figure out for me the fact that subject and class are tied together like this. So, I don't know if you fell for the same little trick. Okay, so the entity names at the top. Okay, we've got a mark just for the fact that they're at the top. Good. And teacher, class, lessons, the link, and students. See, you can call this anything. That's why they just call it link. So teacher, class, the link, students, and lessons. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're on 11 marks. Okay, links shown between entities. Teacher to lesson. 1 too many. Good. Class to lessons. 1 too many. Link lessons. 1 too many, sure. And link to students. 1 too many. Okay, we're on 15. Teacher entity ID. Okay, so the teacher needed an ID, which we got. Start up here. Class ID. Oh, we got all the IDs. So it's teacher, yes. Class, yes. Oh, class with a subject in it. Yeah, we did that right. Lessons ID, yes. Timetable start Ooh, this is what I got wrong. No, I'm not giving, you can't take a point for that one. Class ID, yes. Ooh, I drew this weird. Teacher ID, yes. And link ID, yes. Lesson ID, yes. Okay. So what are we on? 23, we're doing alright. We got more. Student ID, yes. What's this student? Oh, linked lesson, huh? Lessons. Oh, right, sorry. Lessons needed, that, yes. Oh, I misunderstood what was going on. The time slot, which I didn't get. Class, yes. Teacher, yes. Okay. I've lost count of what the heck's going on here, but so far I know I'm only going to get one wrong, so that I suppose that's the easiest way to figure it out. But I just want to show you how this mark scheme works. Okay, then you got to go through each one of these. The lessons, yep. Then the link requires the link ID, done. Lesson ID, yes. And student ID, yes. Students require the student ID. A name. Oh, see, I should have, okay, I'll get -2 because I should have actually put a surname in there. That's silly that I didn't do that. All elements consistent in case structure. Yeah, okay, I would have done that. As you noticed, I did fix that, so I would have got a mark for that. All right, 30, so I would have got 30 out of 32. All right. Oh, you haven't seen the screen the whole time. Sorry. I wrote it. This is what I've been marking them off here. So I would have got 30 out of 32. I don't know. What would you have got? Cool. Thanks for watching.